Well, I will tell you what, folks, we wish that it looked like that outside of Turner Gymnasium right about now, but sadly it does not. We're about 14 degrees below the average for the city of Lynchburg on January 17th. I believe it was a high of 30, a low real feel around the 5-degree range, so certainly a cold one in the Hill City today. We're hoping for the exact opposite inside Turner Gymnasium tonight. Hollins and Lynchburg going to tip off at the top of the hour. 45th all-time meeting between a pair of old school ODAC foes. I'm Sam Graham, happy to be with you all tonight for what should be an exciting, and we'll wait to kind of see what sort of pace develops in this one. I think a faster pace certainly favors Lynchburg, and obviously a slower one would probably favor the defensive-minded visitors out of roughly, we'll say, Roanoke and Hollins. This is an improved Hollins team. I know 2-8 in the conference. Might not speak to that directly, but be sure that this Hollins team on the road, they're ready to compete. They can compete, and we're expecting a pretty highly contested one tonight from Lynchburg, Virginia. We'll take a look at these two teams as they enter tonight as we go across the halfway portion of the conference slate, a 16-game conference schedule. Lynchburg at 4-5, Hollins again at 2-8. Lynchburg would love to get to that 500 margin today, and you take a look at how things have shaped up so far. Lynchburg, more of the offensive-minded team tonight. Hollins going to bring their defense and hope that it travels on the road with the energy and intensity, and you see that three-point shooting number for Lynchburg steadily rising. Hornets have really been heating up as of late. We know that they are one of the top three-point shooting teams in the country, borderline top 25 in terms of makes per game. And finally, we'll touch on the assisting number for Lynchburg, a slight margin coming into today. That could be a big-time key for victory for Lynchburg when the Hornets record 17 or more assists. They have not lost this year. 20 or more 3-0, 17 or more 5-0 coming into this evening. Take a look at what some of those keys to tonight's contest will be. Take a look at the grand plan for tonight, January 17th, 2024 for Hollins. You want to keep it moving. This is a team that has really struggled from the free throw line this season. So the more that they can stay in transition, the more that you can play in the half court, certainly favors the road team. And then bring your own energy. Sometimes it can be hard to capture some of the energy when you're on the road. They're going to have a hostile crowd, more and more students coming on campus. Lacrosse teams, men's and women's, have now moved in. So there's going to be some energy in this gym. Hollins going to need to try and convert that into some energy of its own. And for Lynchburg, you got to stick to the fundamentals. This is a Hollins team that, again, great on the defensive end, one of the better teams at taking the ball away in the country. Lynchburg's going to need to have sound passing and take care of the ball. And finally, space the floor, rely on the three-point shooting against a Hollins team that has struggled to defend at the perimeter. We will take a quick break for tonight's national anthem, but when we return, we'll take a look at the starting lineups and get you ready for tip-off on LHSN.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Look what you're missing. It really don't matter to me. I'm just happy to be here. I might go crazy.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals. We've got one professor for every 10 students, so you can get all the support you need. In the classroom, in the lab, or in nature, you'll learn by putting yourself out there, and we're right there with you.
Welcome back in. You are watching ODAC women's basketball in a steadily filling up Turner Gymnasium. Mentioned before we went to break, both lacrosse teams back on campus now, and that is a lot of student athletes. A couple of teams really looking forward to knocking the ice off of the new turf on Schellenberger Field and getting their seasons underway. But we're right in the thick of things here inside Turner at this juncture in the season. This Lynchburg team at 9-7, 4-5 in conference play, and we'll take a look at some of our players to watch in the upcoming contest that we're going to get going in just a couple of minutes against the visiting Hollins. We'll start with the visitors. Cabria Mutz is certainly going to be the one to keep an eye on for Hollins. Rebounding is going to be important tonight. You want to keep Lynchburg to those one and dones, and this is somebody that's we're probably going to call her name a lot, and she's going to be important. Top 3 in the conference in both rebounding and blocking, so one of the best post players that the conference has to offer coming out of Hollins. On the other side, who else? Sammy Severs taken really the conference and maybe even the nation by storm over these last 2 games. 19.5 points per game and efficient scoring as well. Well over 60% from the floor, 50% from 3. She has been fantastic for a Lynchburg team that has won a pair, 2-0 back-to-back wins coming into tonight, and 5-1 over its last 6. Well, now as they're being announced for Lynchburg on the floor, we'll take a look at our starting 5 on each side tonight. The 10 ladies we'll see out there first. For Hollins, a shorter bench. We're not going to see as many players for Lynchburg, or they're going to rotate a lot. Nobody on this Lynchburg team plays more than about 26 minutes per game. That is Macy Mullins, and we'll run through those lineups real quick. For Hollins, it'll be Holden, Carter, Mutz, Morales at 12.5 points per game, leads Hollins in scoring, and Missy Hazard, certainly a capable 3-point scorer, 32 makes on the year. And then for Lynchburg, their very own 3-point specialist, Macy Mullins, will be joined by Sarah Brandstatter, Sammy Sever, Brooke Kaysen, and Bree Spainauer. About ready for tip-off here. Lynchburg to my left, Hollins to my right. Lynchburg will score to the opposite. Hollins the same. Lynchburg in white, Hollins the green and gold. No official mascot for the visitors tonight. Green and gold, sort of the preferred moniker. Those are some sharp uniforms as they go immediately down low to Mutz. First shot of the evening off the mark. Lynchburg wants to go a little quickly in the other side, but record the first block of the night for number 21 in green. Here comes Hollins in transition. Tempo's a big thing we want to watch. Who's that going to favor as we get through this contest? Right now, certainly the up-tempo realm, but only 36 seconds gone by. There's a deep 3 from Hazard. Mentioned 32 makes on the year coming into tonight. She's the top threat from deep on this Hollins team, but her first attempt from, I mean, honestly, NBA range, WNBA range, really would have been a 3 from any level of basketball. It's off the mark. Bree Spainauer going to settle for the mid-range jumper. Settle might not be the correct word because she knocks it down. No rim assistance needed. Nothing but net puts Lynchburg on top. About a minute gone by. 2-0 midweek action here in the ODAC. A busy night all across the conference, both on the men's and women's side. Most of those midweek games taking place on Wednesday evenings. Lynchburg men's team down the road, down 29 a bit in Danville, taking on Averett. This Lynchburg women's team, last time we saw them was against Averett. That was a home contest. Lynchburg won by a comfortable and healthy 25-point margin. Great cut. Brooke Kaysen takes most of her scoring from outside. Misses on the cut. It was a beautiful play and a good pass by Spainauer, but Sarah Brandstatter, the do-it-all combo guard, there to clean it up close to the rim. Lynchburg, a 4-0 run to kick this one off. Slowing things down just a tad comes Hollins with the ball now. Nolani Carter, 5'8" guard out of D.W. Daniel High School, a sophomore on a young Hollins team, spotted with freshmen, first years and sophomores all up and down the roster. There's a good job to put the ball on the floor, make a nice cut to the basket, and Zariah Holden takes the lid off the hoop, breaks the ice for Hollins there on the board with a pair. Brandstatter collects off the high seal off from Spainauer. Spainauer inside out threat. She's going to put it on the floor. Running layup up and good. Bree Spainauer has her her second basket of the evening. One from the mid-range, one. It doesn't get a whole lot easier than that. She made it look even easier than it is. On the runner to the basket, converting with the layup. Pull up, shot. Anything you can do, I can do just as well, says Cabria Mutz. With Spainhour giving defense, she knocks down the mid-range jumper. A quick pull up, and we'll get a quick stoppage as Olivia Harris will be the first substitution in. She comes in for Lynchburg and sends Sammy Sever to the bench. Olivia Harris, we knew would probably be the first one off the bench. Having another very productive season, 8.1 points per game in about 20 minutes. Immediately, Bree Spainhour, who's got things cooking early and often, has 6 now to double Lynchburg up over Hollins, 8-4, 6:44 remaining in quarter number 1. Penetration inside the three-point line. They go back to Mutz down low. That's a somewhat of a matchup problem for this Lynchburg team. Mutz only 5'10", not over that 6-foot barrier, but Lynchburg, just the size she brings to the table, might have a little bit of trouble, might have to throw some double teams if she starts to heat up from the floor. Does have some early points, but just the one basket that actually did not come in the paint. I would say if you're Coach Nichols and company, you're probably okay to see Mutz take some of those shots from further away from the basket. It's those post-ups and layups in close that may give you a little more pause. Hollins off the first Lynchburg turnover of the game. Will go down low, not to Mutz though. It'll be Erin Allen instead. Battle for the rebound, taken back. Allen gets her own miss. Now we'll kick it out and we'll reset it on the Hollins side of things. Extended possession, something to watch out for Lynchburg. And finishing it off is Zariah Holden. One of those first years, averaging right at 8 points per game. Shooting 34% from the floor. That's a high percentage look right there. Lynchburg, who are you going to go to? Right back to Spainhour. And she has things going on. Mid-range, down low, doesn't matter. Spainhour locked in. She has 8 of Lynchburg's 10 points, and Casey Kelly heads to the scores table. Lynchburg already looking to get its second substitution into the game. Breaking some of the Lynchburg pressure on the outside and then forcing a turnover. Lynchburg, a good response, as Hollins has had a little bit of success penetrating that perimeter defense from Lynchburg, getting into the mid-range. Again, Lynchburg's okay with opponents taking those lower percentage shots, the long twos, if you will. Get a couple more substitutions for Lynchburg as Casey Kelly and Ashley Vandergrift, arguably the strongest shooter in the conference right now for Lynchburg, shooting not just over 50% from three, well above 50%, making her return, a long-awaited return for this Lynchburg team. Missed the beginning of the year, and boy, have they been happy to see her back in the lineup. Second block of the evening for Hollins. It's not Mutz this time. Looked like Erin Allen got her hands on it and altered the shot of Bree Spainhour, and then Mullins makes the hustle play to slow down a potential transition opportunity going the other way. So Hollins will have to go side out instead. Relatively up-tempo start to this one. We've seen one instance of second chance points for this Hollins team that brings in a 5 rebound per game advantage over Lynchburg, 44 per game to Lynchburg's 39. Hornets team that's rebounding by committee. Hollins Mutz takes about 9 of theirs per game. We'll get a pick and potential pick 6 transition opportunity. It was 2-on-1. The shot credited to Nolani Carter, but she's fouled on the way up, and we'll get the first free throws of the game. And for Hollins, still trying to reverse some of its luck at the charity stripe. They call them the free ones for Hollins. Might not have felt quite that free so far this year, shooting under 50% at the line so far. But we will wait to the other side of this media timeout to see the result of the next 2 upcoming for the visitors.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
Things on the defensive end, you could argue, are going according to plan for Hollins. 2 blocks and a steal, but Bree Spainhour, 8 of Lynchburg's 10 points to open up this 4-point advantage for Lynchburg. She has given a big, healthy boost to Lynchburg to kick this one off. Hollins hanging right around. At the free throw line right now is Nolani Carter. Goes 1 for 2, a split at the line for the 48% free throw shooter on the year. Again, free throws, as I mentioned going into the break, something that has not come easily to this Hollins team. Come in at the bottom of the conference in free throw percentage at 48%. It's something Lynchburg has struggled with a tad as well. Just 63.5% is only good for 10th in the conference, but again, I mean, you have about a 15 percentage boost there over your opponent. That's generally going to be enough. So it doesn't always matter if it's 80 to 65. Kind of can get the job done no matter what with that sort of disparity. One and done on the other side. Spainhour, an uncontested rebound. Thought about maybe just going ahead and running the floor. Instead gives it up to Harris, who tries to break and does the double team attempted trap in the far corner. She gets it back top of the key. Harris thought about the three. She'll go to Casey Kelly inside instead. Kelly, a couple quick dribbles, then backs out. Step back off the mark. And a couple of Hornets there. Vandergrift and Spainhour contested for the rebound, unable to come up with it. And speaking of rebounding and size, Lynchburg will bring Taylor Brown into the contest for the first time, and she will be welcomed back to the court alongside Sammy Sever. So Lynchburg already going into its bench a tad. Taylor Brown, the 8th Hornet to see action already tonight, still in the first quarter, a game Lynchburg has controlled. From pretty much the opening jump, went out to a 2-0 advantage and hold a 10-7 one right now. Sammy Sever stays hot from the outside. She doubles the lead from 3 to 6. Lynchburg up to 13 points quickly against one of the better defenses in the conference in Hollins. Visitors looking to respond, probing inside again. Took some contact from Vandergrift, and then just going up with the shot was Destiny Hoover. We'll get slowed down in transition again. Foul going, I believe, against Carter. Foul applied to Ashley Vandergrift. It's the second team foul for this Hollins team, who faces an early 6-point deficit. Lynchburg over the last 3 minutes on a 5-1 run. Hollins, just again, that 1 point, that was a free throw attempt. Do not have a field goal in the last 145 of gameplay. After a pretty solid start, got out to those first 6 points on 3 field goals. They have cooled down to the tune of for its last 7 from the floor. Take another look at that drive to the basket as Brandstatter collects the 3rd team foul against Hollins, and she will shoot 2. Good on the first goes Brandstatter, graduate transfer from Roanoke. She was a do-it-all guard there, and she is rounded into a do-it-all guard in Lynchburg as well. Brandstatter's been fantastic for this Lynchburg team, leads the Hornets in a whole host of categories ranging from points to free throw attempts, rebounds, really do it all. We called her a combo guard. I mean, one of those players that you feel like can kind of almost play any position. She is having a quick check with the athletic training staff for Lynchburg right now on the bench, so Taylor Gant comes in to replace her. Gant knocked down a couple of baskets against Averett the other day. Pair of threes, I'll get a little more specific. She gives up. Casey Kelly runs the baseline. Shot too strong, does not draw iron, and quickly comes Hollins again. Outlet near side. Now we switch back around. Good crisp passing from the green and gold. Back inside they go. Clear game plan here from the visitors, from Coach Emily Dunton's squad. Not going to settle for those 3-point tries. Going to try to get those high percentage looks and make Lynchburg defend you down low. Be the second trip to the free throw line here for Hollins. Will be shooting its 3rd and 4th attempts of the day. Get more substitutions for Lynchburg that we'll check on after this shot. That is up and good. Back into the game comes Brooke Kaysen, and into the game for the first time for Lynchburg comes the freshman Letty Michael. Battle for the rebound. Kaysen got her hands on it, then it was tapped out by Mutz and corralled by Gant, who was able to corral it in transition. A sidestep shot leaves a tad to be desired from Sever. A good idea and a good job to free herself up under the basket. But at the end of it all, it's a quick possession that does not finish off in points there for Lynchburg. A little miscommunication. Hollins didn't have anybody ready to receive that inbounds pass. One of those awkward moments in 2K where you leave all your controlled players on the other end of the court. You press A to throw it in, or X on PlayStation, you just throw it out of bounds the other way. Luckily, Hollins able to clear up the miscommunication. They'll get a good look out of the half court here. 7-point early deficit for the green and gold. Moving the ball around nicely right now. Far corner now stuck and takes a shot late in the shot clock. There's a win for the Lynchburg defense as the shot is off the mark from Segay. Brooke Kaysen lines up her first three of the day off the mark, and a foul going after the rebound. Who is it on? Going to go against Lynchburg. Imagine Letty Michael was the guilty party. Check that, it's Taylor Brown. And you've heard of big lineups in terms of size. Lynchburg bringing a big lineup on the court right now in terms of number. You got number 4 Taylor Gant, and then after that, Taylor Brown, the center, who wears number 22, is the next smallest number. Brown, aforementioned, battles for the rebound, knocks it out. Gant corrals her second rebound of the day, and again has Lynchburg running. Corner three from Kaysen. Everybody stands up in the gym, holds 3 fingers up in the air. Brooke Kaysen knocks down her first triple. She's 1 for 2 from outside. That's her 33rd of the season. One of the best three-point shooters among those qualified in the conference is Brooke Kaysen, shooting right at 40% on the year from deep. Answering, though, on the other side comes Hollins, just a 2. Again, those long 2s you can live with as a coach, and it sets Lynchburg up to be able to take the last possession. With 12 on the clock, another good cut from Sever. Had her defender on her back. That was Mutz, and a tough take from the senior forward, Sammy Sever. Likely to collect the last 2 points of the first quarter. The heave, don't believe, would have counted even if it had dropped for Zariah Holden. So the last basket of the first quarter is credited to number 23, Sammy Sever. She finishes that first quarter with 5. Bree Spainhour with 8 to lead the way for Lynchburg, had 8 of the team's first 10. And it is a 20-10 Lynchburg lead after 1. There's the fearless leader of this Lynchburg women's basketball program, Allison Nichols, in her 3rd year at the helm of the Hornets women's program. 32-37 career record at Lynchburg, a 16-11 mark in year 1, and then, as we know, a very young team last year that had some highs, had some lows, but they've grown up a little bit right in front of our eyes this year to the tune of a rebounding 9-7 record, looking for win number 10 here tonight. And a familiar-ish coaching matchup that we have tonight. Lynchburg's Nichols, of course, a Brookville graduate, a Hill City resident from way back, as is Emily Dunton, the Hollins head coach. Also attended Brookville High School and then stayed in the Hill City. She finished up her college career at Randolph, a 2015 graduate. And of course, Allison Nichols spent some time as the head coach at Randolph as well. So no shortage of connections between those two coaches that shared a lengthy discussion before this game started. And back to the action happening down below us. Sammy Sever at the line. Sever bookended on the backside that first quarter of scoring. She adds one more point to her total at the line here for 6 in the game. She and Bree Spainhour, 14 of Lynchburg's 21 points. Brooke Kaysen also nailed a 3, and then Sarah Brandstatter has the other 4 for Lynchburg. She is on the bench right now, seems to be maybe favoring that left arm. Got fouled, went to the line, knocked down her free throws, and then had to go check in with the Lynchburg athletic training staff. So we'll monitor her condition, see if Lynchburg win and if they can get her back. Right now, though, things are going pretty smoothly on the offensive end. Brooke Kaysen has her second 3 of the game. I don't want to say she struggled, but did just go 1 for 4 against Averett last time out, quickly amending that. She is 2 of 3 with the deep ball here early on this evening. She's got 6 now to tie up Sammy Sever for second on the team. We'll stay right here, and we talked a little bit pregame about this Hollins defense. That's certainly the strength of this team. They come in holding their opponents on average under 60 points per game at 57.3, and that extends holding opponents to just 34% from the floor and just 28% from 3. But Lynchburg's really cracked that code. The 3 ball has been a big part of it, 50% on 3 of 6 starting out here for Lynchburg. But more than that, Lynchburg able to get some second chance opportunities, only 2 points on the back end of those. But they have corralled a couple of offensive rebounds here early on to keep things going on the offensive end. And I think the pace so far is probably, catered a little bit more to Lynchburg. You see them off those defensive rebounds. They want to run, especially some of those that Gant called down, getting back quickly to the other end and maybe just outpacing Hollins a little bit in that respect. Not necessarily fast break points, per se, but just Lynchburg really keeping this Hollins defense on its toes. Had 20 points at the conclusion of that first quarter, and for all you math majors in the room, that's on pace for 80 in the game, which would obviously outdo what Hollins comes in holding its opponents to on average. We'll see if that cools down a little bit, but efficient scoring early on for Lynchburg. Hollins quickly goes down low to Mutz. Coach Nichols wants a travel. The fans in attendance may have wanted an offensive foul. I personally would say just a strong take there by Mutz. Kind of caught Spainhour off guard under the basket. Spainhour good, a two-way player, good on both ends of the floor, offense and defense, and good inside and out on the offensive side. But we mentioned Mutz. This is one of the best post players and rim protectors offensively and defensively, respectively, that the conference has to offer. About 9 rebounds per game and closing in on 3 blocks per game as well, and she's got 1 already in this game. So we'll see how much Lynchburg goes down low in the post-up opportunities with Spainhour on offense, but certainly the Spainhour Mutz will be something to watch on defense. Mutz has her second block, both of them against Spainhour shots, but at the end of the day, it's a wide-open Brooke Kaysen 3, and that is not a recipe for success if you're the team trying to guard her. Brooke Kaysen, 3 early one. She has 3 of Lynchburg's 4 3-point makes. And for a team that averages about 9 a game, they're certainly on pace to match, if not exceed that. This take by Mutz off the mark. Rebound corralled by Spainhour, and a pretty good passer for the Lynchburg. Her outlet pass is deflected and sent back the other way. Here's a 3 ball on the Hollins side, lined up well. A good look at it for Mariah Hill. It catches the far end of the iron, and Lynchburg maybe thought about slowing it down and does. Macy Mullins. Let's hold up, everybody, catch our breath. Lynchburg with that 13-point advantage, largest of the day. Mullins a cut. Takes the feed from Spainhour, and that's just one of those interesting moments. The roles reverse. A lot of times you see Spainhour making that cut, and Mullins or Brandstad are the one feeding it to her from the near side or far side wing. That time the roles reverse. Mullins is the cutter, and on a shot she can hit, The Hollins defense alters it. Coming back the other way, Sever just got ahead of herself a little bit. Quick, brief discussion with the official under the basket, but it will be Hollins basketball, and we get a whole host of substitutions coming back in on both sides. 2 new faces for Lynchburg, 3 for Hollins. We'll try to call them out for you up here. It's Olivia Harris and Darcy Ross into the game for Lynchburg. First time we've seen Darcy Ross tonight. And quickly on the other side, Morales gets going with a 2. That's her second basket of the day. A slow start for Morales on the offensive end. She was one of her first 4 before that make. For Hollins' leading scorer, 12.5 points per game. Does that on 39% from the floor, 30% from 3. We'll get our second timeout of this second quarter. Not immediate timeout, so again, we will stay right here as Lynchburg has had the deficit cut down a little bit, but right about where it was when we entered the second quarter. It was 20-10 after 1, 27-16 now. But let's talk about Cabria Mutz and Bree Spainhour. You saw there a second ago, Mutz down low in that battle we've seen. There's been some wins on both sides, and then certainly Brooke Kaysen is a developing story in this second quarter as well. She's got 3 triples on the day, 2 of them from the second quarter. And after Bree Spainhour took the training wheels off to get this one going, 8 of Lynchburg's first 10 points, Brooke Kaysen has had a little bit of a run of her own. 3 of her last 4, all of those attempts have been threes. Kaysen certainly is a 3-point specialist for this Lynchburg team. Her first attempt of the night, though, we'll give her the credit, was from 2-point land. That was a cutting attempt that just missed. Since then, all deep tries for Kaysen, and she's made a lot more than she's missed. Brandstatter has the opportunity to check back in for Lynchburg. Seems that all is well there. Dumps it off to Ross. Since the double team, found her teammate down low, and Ross cleans it up under the basket. Ross, that prototypical, gives you a great hard defense, a great rebounder, and can certainly take advantage of those opportunities when she gets them in close. High percentage scorer down low. Nearly disaster there for Hollins, but they avoid the turnover, keep things going on the left side of your screen, and Morales heating up a little bit. She's 2 of her last 2. And now springboards into the Hollins lead, where she's comfortable being 6 points to lead the visitors. Ross, a spin move. That gets everybody on their feet. Couple of oohs and ahs from the crowd. I'll join in there with them. An impressive take down low, and back-to-back baskets from Darcy Ross. Quickly the other end goes Zariah Holden. And pace, pace, pace. We've seen a little bit of everything. Lynchburg tried to answer again with a long outlet feed to Olivia Harris. Just a little bit too long. Harris unable to corral it. But boy, was that an exciting stretch right there. And some old school basketball for you there. Maybe the pace a little bit faster, but a couple of teams wanting to get their money's worth down low. Darcy Ross and Sarah Morales going at it there. 8 points between the 2 of them. Now 1 and done for Hollins. Brandstatter still wants to keep things running. It's a track meet in Turner Gymnasium. Brandstatter draws another foul. It's the second on Hollins this quarter. And Brandstatter will go back to the line. They'll hit the personal against Destiny Hoover. 5'4" guard out of Pendleton, South Carolina. A couple of D.W. Daniel alums in the gym tonight, both for the visitors. That's Hoover and Carter. It's Brandstatter at the line. Knocks him down. It's a 33-20 advantage now for Lynchburg. Hornets right now certainly with an emphasis on trying to protect that painted area, where Hollins has really looked to score tonight. Mentioned not a great team from 3, and sign of a well-coached team is that you're not forcing those threes. Only 3 so far in this contest to Lynchburg's 7. I'd be lying if we said that wasn't expected tonight. But back to the line goes Hollins. First one off the mark, a little bit short as the free throw struggles continue. Now 2 of 5 are the visitors at the line. Second one up and good, so that evens things back to 50%. Every trip to the stripe has been a split tonight for Hollins. Media timeout coming up soon. Lynchburg going to look to add a little more scoring before that happens. Brooke Kaysen was looking for her 12th point, all on the backs of threes, and then a strong fight for the rebound for Bree Spainauer, and essentially is credited with the rebound. Third team foul against Hollins. It'll be an opportunity to take things out from under their own basket. Brandstatter will key things in, and a couple more substitutions for Hollins as Mutz is back into the game. And she is joined by, I believe it was Destiny Hoover, came back in with her kick out. Inside out game, Olivia Harris lines up a three. Brandstatter hits the ground looking for that rebound. Mutz instead takes the board and runs the floor a little bit. Here's a three from Morales off wide. Olivia Harris, the quick rebound, a quick possession for Hollins. Harris turns on the Jets, gets to the basket with ease and converts it down low. Olivia Harris can certainly run. Turned on the turbo Jets there, left everybody in her dust. Another one of those Lynchburg players that a very more than capable three-point scorer, has a 53 pointers made season to her name. That was her freshman campaign, and another good year from deep last year. She's shown a little bit of an acumen to be able to score on those runners and those cutting attempts to the basket. Here she's going to get whistled for the travel. Got tangled up with Morales on the far side, hit the deck. And that's just a tough position to be in as an offensive player. It's almost always going to be a travel or a tie-up. In this instance, it is the former. And with 3:23 to go, we roll on. Here in the second, a 14-point advantage here for Lynchburg. Hornets team, as I mentioned earlier, 5 of its last 6, 2 in a row. Hornets team heating up in January, coldest temps of the year. Some of the hottest shooting and win percentages for this Lynchburg team in 2 years. Shot clock has dwindled down to just 3. Hollins bench trying to give their players on the floor a reminder of that. Spainauer contested big time for that rebound, and she holds on to it. Mullins, transition, 3. Give it to her. Macy Mullins on the far side. Lynchburg has caught fire from 3. The Hornets have their 5th of the first half. Bree Spainauer gets the fast break opportunity going. We won't call it a step back there from Macy Mullins. Collected it and then knocked it down. And then on the other side, Hollins has its first triple of the evening. An 0 of 5 start from 3, make that 1 of 6. And then Lynchburg gets hit with another turnover on the other end. Lynchburg holds that 14-point advantage, largest of the day. 17 was the largest just a moment ago after that Macy Mullins 3. But it's interesting, you know, the correlation and causation, not always the same thing. Lynchburg losing the turnover battle 10-2. Hollins has done a good job taking care of the ball. Haven't gotten a lot of second chance opportunities, just 1 offensive rebound for the visitors. The rebounding advantage, a resounding favor of Lynchburg at 25-10. But we'll keep an eye on that turnover margin here for Lynchburg. One of the biggest keys to getting yourself back in a game is keeping your opponent from even getting their shots off. Back to the line, though, goes Hollins. This is another good opportunity to get yourself back in the game. But again, Hollins just 3 of 7 from the free throw line. Make that 4 of 8, and the split streak continues. Hollins has gone 1 of 2 on every trip to the line. Somebody lost track of their man. It's Sammy Sever scoring one of her easier baskets of the day. Getting back well in transition at the last second was Holden, but it was just too little too late. Sammy Sever receives the go ball, if you will. There's another football reference for you, Evan Gates. And Lynchburg has the lead back up to 15. Battle for the rebound was Brooke Kaysen against Nolani Carter. Kaysen wins it for Lynchburg. And now facing a little bit of a press from this Hollins team. Brandstatter, that's probably who you want with the ball in her hands. She will shake off Carter and dump it off. Sammy Sever, another pair in the paint. Lynchburg getting it going down low. Scoring the basketball out on the outside and on the inside. Not much in the mid-range, but that's just how Lynchburg likes it on the offensive side. Hornets team's really been clicking the last couple of games, but so has Cabria Mutz all year, and that's not settled down tonight. A great spin move. We saw one from Darcy Ross earlier. Mutz does it herself and then has her third block of the first half. That's just a tough spot to be in if you're Macy Mullins. I think got a little bit surprised of how open she thought she was. Here's another spin move. Shakes off the contact from Taylor Brown, and now Mutz will go to the line where she has taken over things a little bit on the offensive side in this second quarter. She and Morales, who enter tonight, combining for about 21 of Hollins' 59 points per game. So they're the offensive focal points. One that can hurt you from deep, that's Morales, and then the inside presence, as has been well established as much. She misses the front end, and if history tells us anything, I got a good hunch this second one is going to be corrected and up and in here for Mutz. It is. We continue. 5 trips to the line, every single one of them 1 for 2. 5 for 10 is Hollins overall. We got less than a minute to go in the first half. Mutz, update on her scoring total. She's up to 7. Holden leads the way for Hollins with 12. Brandstatter kicks it out. Mullins steps to her right. Maybe had Brown there for a second after Mutz fell down. Again, Sever left alone. Far corner, there's number 6, Sammy Sever. You saw it in the pregame, 19.5 points per game over her last 2 contests coming in. We won't forget those 5 rebounds per game as well. She's got 13 in the first half tonight. 3 ball catches only the front end of the iron on the other side from Missy Hazard. She and Morales, the 3-point specialists here for this Hollins team. Lynchburg again can get the last shot. Sever was open. Brandstatter didn't see her. A spin, a scoop, and no good. Hollins holds tough on the defensive end to round out the second quarter on the last possession. But the defense a little bit lacking overall. Lynchburg, 45 first half points, a very productive second quarter, 20 in the first, 25 in the second. The Hornets are on pace for 90, and they've got a 17-point lead as we have played 20 minutes from inside Turner Gymnasium. Remind you going into break, Sam Graham riding solo with you tonight. We'll have all the usual suspects coming up for you at the halftime stats, a look around the ODAC, and maybe a little bit of analysis. I'm going to need to get myself some water first, but we hope to see you back, if not for the halftime show, in 15 minutes time for the second half of Lynchburg and Hollins. You're watching LHSN.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and rope course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
Tim Slusser from the Outdoor Leadership Program gave a presentation at a teaching and learning resources conference here about getting his program more involved on the academic side of campus. I mentioned computers and mapping, and he mentioned caving, and eventually we came up with the idea of mapping caves.
So the week before we were able to learn how to use the instruments kind of like on a flat surface and just kind of get a hang of how they work. But it was really amazing how once we got in the cave, it was a completely different experience using them.
It was unique. It got most of us out of our comfort zone, kind of gave us a new experience, a new taste of something new. But I think the most difficult parts were getting the lighting right. You had to read the instruments with the headlamps while keeping your eye pointed on the plot point.
This allowed them to actually literally get their hands dirty, collecting data, conducting measurements, and putting all that together in the form of a map, and doing it in a place that's never been mapped before.
Here's to life and here's to Lynchburg, to the years we spent together. I don't know when or how we gathered, but I know I'm home. So here's to love and here's to the heartache, all the laughter, every mistake. I don't know how our lives will be changed, but here I am home. Here I'm home. Here's to life and here's to Lynchburg, to the years we spent together. I don't know when or how we gathered, but I know I'm home.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. I 100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom. but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic in Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
I'm Ashley Vandergrift with Lynchburg Women's Basketball, and this is Lynchburg Reels.
This is Lynchburg Reels. We're with Ashley Vandergrift, and we have 60 seconds to ask as many real questions as we can on Instagram Reels. So when did you know your half-court shot against Wilson was going in?
As soon as I shot it.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Did y'all know what the program record was before that Wilson game?
No.
When did you find out it was a program record?
After the game.
How does that feel?
Pretty good.
On the team, who's your number one partner to play 2v2?
Macy,
Why?
because she's my shooter.
Do you know where Coach Nichols went to college?
Bridgewater.
Do you think you could take her one-on-one?
Yes.
Why is that?
She hasn't played in a while.
What's your favorite class you've taken here at school?
Anatomy.
Best dining hall food?
Dino Nuggets.
Who's your favorite professional basketball player?
Probably Steph Curry.
What song do you want us to put on this video?
Say My Grace by Offset.
And then what's the most random fact you know?
George Washington did not have wooden teeth.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Go Hornets.
Go Hornets.
Another chance to hear from Lynchburg's very own Ashley Vandergrift. And, you know, Ashley, I know she picked Macy as her spot-up shooter for a little game of 2-on-2, and that's certainly not a bad pick. Macy Mullins, 53-pointers knocked down a season ago. But, you know, Ashley not so bad herself. 58% this year, 11 of 18 from deep. And scoring from outside has certainly been a big trend for this Lynchburg team. Across the first two quarters in the first 20 minutes, Hornets are 6 of 11. If you're looking at first halves only, the Hornets 12 of 21 in their last two first halves. That's Averett and tonight's Hollins game. And that is a big part of why Lynchburg is leading this game 45-28 at the break. Sam Graham alongside you, and we'll take a look at some of what we've seen as Kyle Haney attempting to pump up the crowd here with a friendly playing of the song aptly named Pump It Up. So trying to get this gym going and keep the good vibes rolling if you're a Lynchburg fan in the second half. Here's a look at what led to the good vibes in the first. Lynchburg scoring efficiently and effectively from everywhere on the court. 53% from the floor, 54% from three, and 83% at the line. Hollins continuing to have some woes at the free throw line themselves at a 5 of 10 clip. And Hollins, not known for their three-point scoring, it's not where they're going to look to get offense. They are just 1 of 7, so we'll just note that 14% from three. The big ones to look at, certainly as you see there, a large rebounding margin. And while Cabria Mutz has actually had a very big impact on this game, does only have 2 rebounds, but 3 blocks on the defensive end, she has the lone offensive rebound for this Hollins team that has just the one in the first half as part of a broader 27-12 disparity for Lynchburg. A reminder, Hollins entered tonight's contest expecting to out-rebound Lynchburg by 5. Green and Gold averaged 44 free throws per game entering tonight to Lynchburg's 39. Lynchburg on pace to easily outdo their season average for rebounds. Hollins well below. As promised, we'll take a look around the rest of the conference as well, and we'll start that out by looking at where things stack up right now on January 17th. It's Washington and Lee who received all of the first place votes in the preseason poll. They still sit atop an unblemished 9-0 record overall. They are ranked in the national poll at 18th, 15-1 on the year for a Washington and Lee team that has just really controlled things so far this season. We'll see if they can be unseated. And you see there between them and Lynchburg, though, that's the pack Lynchburg's trying to assert itself into. A win tonight would make them 5-5 in conference play this year. Obviously 10-7 would be a nice mark as well on the overall side. But more importantly, I think at this point, this juncture of the season, if you're Lynchburg, you're kind of wondering, okay, is this going to be a top 6 that ends at Roanoke and we're left out? Or do we feel like we belong and it's a top 7 that includes us? I mean, this is a Lynchburg team that pushed Roanoke to within a 10-point margin. They pushed Guilford down to the final possession, had a lead on Bridgewater in the second half. This is a Lynchburg team that not only feels like but knows it can compete. That's not even to mention the upset victory at home a couple of weeks ago over the winter break over Randolph-Macon. But really just for Lynchburg finding out where it may find itself as we finish off the rest of the conference slate. Most of the games going on right now, a few that have just gotten underway. The only other 7 o'clock tip was Shenandoah and Washington and Lee. Then 4 other tilts across the rest of the conference, all 7:30 starts, so they are in their respective early in the second quarter. That's Bridgewater and Randolph-Macon, a big conference battle there. Randolph-Macon second in the standings, Bridgewater at 4, and then Ferrum, Roanoke, Averett, Randolph, and Virginia Wesleyan and Guilford. And then we'll just check in very quickly on how things are going on the men's side. Lynchburg on the road, as we mentioned, down the road in Danville. They're playing Averett tonight, a big road contest. Lynchburg looking to steal one away from home tonight, and they're on pace to do so. A 5-point lead at the half as the Lynchburg men leading Averett 31-26. A low-scoring defensive affair in that one. Not so much in this one. And we've talked a lot about how good Lynchburg is on the court. This is a Lynchburg team not too bad in the classroom either. A 3.52 GPA last semester. Certainly nothing to laugh at. I mean, if you're just one person, you have a 3.5, you're doing a lot of things right. This is the Lynchburg team average. So not just good at shooting threes, but certainly getting 3s and 4s in the classroom as well. They're going to look to keep things going here in the second half. On the individual note, Sammy Sever led the way, 13 points in the first half. She's looking for 15 here. Loses her balance, might need to wipe up a wet spot, or maybe Sever just lost her footing there. A good outlet pass. Sever just could not quite corral it. Again, she was looking for 15 at 13 in the first half. She was 5 of 7 from the floor, knocked down a pair of triples. Zariah Holden leads the way for Hollins with 12 in the first half. 2 leading scorers for Hollins, Mutz and Morales, did combine for 13, 7 for Mutz, 6 for Morales, and then 3 blocks to go along with that total in the points column for Mutz, 2 steals for Morales. For Hollins in the second half, I think tempo is certainly something to take a look at. Mentioned in the pregame, one of those keys to the game. You want to kind of stay within that natural flow. You don't want to have a lot of these stoppages, and I'm not sure Hollins would have liked to have shot 10 free throws in the first half. They're a little more comfortable in that half-court offense, as you just saw right here. And then on the flip side, when you're unable to get those offensive rebounds, a lot of opportunities for Lynchburg to get out in transition, convert with either fast break points or just hurry up their half-court offense. Either way, Lynchburg's kind of gotten it pretty much wherever they've wanted it, and that's been in the paint and from 3-ball range. Bree Spainhour may have had a good look at a shot, instead passes it up for what is likely a better one. Annie Brooke Kaysen open threes, a pretty good shot attempt, but it is off the mark. Hollins looking to strike again. Had the second half's first basket, didn't much. She was looking to get the second one as well and jump into double figures, but traveled before the shot went off. Shot was no good anyway. Just got her on the travel with that sidestep, trying to elude Macy Mullins. Did free herself up under the basket. But all that, no cookie at the end of it. Lynchburg still leads by 15 early in the second half. Bree Spainhour ate some contact there from Mutz. Then Sammy Sever runs in to tie up. the rebound does not matter. Possession arrow favored Hollins. Strong rebound. Excuse me. They're going to give the ball here. Yeah, excuse me, favors Lynchburg. Sorry for the confusion there. We'll stay on this end. Bree Spainhour happy to stay on this end. She had 8 of the Lynchburg team's first 10 points. She has their first 2 of the second half, and she's into double figures with 10 on a good 5 of 8 clip from the floor. Spainhour averaging right at 10 points per game on the year. She's matched that pretty much in one half tonight. A little quiet last time out against Averett. That was a big-time Sammy Sever and Macy Mullins game. 2 of them really got things going on the offensive end, combined for about 40 for a Lynchburg team that scored 79. So over 50% of the team's points coming from that dynamic offensive pair. Aaron Allen comes back into the game, checks in for Coach Dunton's squad. First substitution of the second half. Lynchburg, failed to mention it, did roll out the same starting 5 as they did in the first half. Another tie-up attempt. Brooke Kaysen battling there with Holden. The Hollins leading scorer on the night looks for 2. It everything but goes down and then bounces on the end line before Morales can get to it and try to convert. Hollins' second offensive rebound. Instead, they still sit on just the 1. In baseball terms, I guess a non-crooked number. Here's a turnover, the 12th of the game for Lynchburg. Brandstatter just has it taken away from her, does get back well on defense, then a lot of contact. Foul's going to go, I believe, against Morales. Trying to take that ball away from Brandstatter. Breed Spainhour, remiss to mention, have not mentioned it yet tonight, 10 rebounds, a double-double for Bree Spainhour. I have to get Hornets stats and info on last time Spainhour had a double-double. I do believe it has happened another time this season, but we'll check on that at our next available break. 10 points, 10 boards for the sophomore dual sport athlete. Starter for the Lynchburg volleyball team as well. So she was a late comer to the party this year for women's basketball. Missed the first couple of games, but they were very happy to get her back on the court and very happy to have her on the floor tonight. Another 2 points for Bree Spainhour in close, and she'll go to the line looking for 1 more. Spainhour good on the free throw. She's up to 13 points in the game, ties Sammy Sever for the team lead. Mentioned last time out it was Sever and Mullins. This time it is Sever and Spainhour. Spainhour and Mullins, a couple of sophomores, part of that big sophomore class that really was just kind of getting their bearings a season ago. Again, highs, lows, everything in between. So that class was just called upon to do a lot, but you see it now. All the opportunity to get some quality minutes, tons of playing time. Brooke Kaysen trying to show that maturity here, working against a good press from Hollins. Full court press, and they're going to eventually force Lynchburg into its 13th turnover of the game. Hornets do have 12 assists against those 13 turnovers. They'd probably like to corral those a bit late in the game. Now, some of it's just coming from aggressive passing like that. You got the right idea, trying to hit Olivia Harris in stride running down the court, but instead it gives Morales a pretty clean look at a 3. A 20-point lead here for Lynchburg. There's 2 schools of thought. You certainly may feel like you can afford to be aggressive, try some of those quote-unquote dangerous passes. And on the other side, you may feel like, oh, you got a 20-point lead, a big cushion. Maybe feel like you can slow it down a little bit. Mentioned Lynchburg does like to be on the faster end of tempo. And Hollins has been very content to stick right with them tonight in the 200s on D3 data in terms of pace of play. So I wouldn't say it favors their style. But again, they've run with Lynchburg tonight. Right now face a 22-point deficit. Near side 3 up and off the mark from Segay. Just the second time we've called her name tonight. Lynchburg wants to go quickly. There's an easy pass and a better one. Passes up the good shot for the great one. Excellent ball movement and a rare 2-point attempt from Ashley Vandergrift punctuates a couple more fast break points for Lynchburg. They do such a great job of just manufacturing. That's the word I like to come back to. just creating those fast break and transition opportunities where there seemingly isn't one. It's one thing to get a steal near half court and get out on a traditional, 2-1, 3-2 break. It's even better when you just get a defensive rebound like what may be happening right now and you just create a 3-2 break of your own. Good defense to stay in front, and the pass a little bit off the mark to Brooke Kaysen. So Lynchburg will have to set back up in its half-court offense, generated by Macy Mullins. Olivia Harris, far side three, looking for her first of the game. Will not get it there, and then a foul very far away from the basket goes against Macy Mullins. Just her second of the game. And we will get our media timeout quickly here in the third quarter. Take another look at Vandergrift, the rare two-point attempt cutting to the basket. Lynchburg up big. 24 points is the margin on their home court. Lynchburg looking for win number 10.
When creating a sustainable future, your choices matter, even your choice of a college. The University of Lynchburg is the first college in Virginia to go carbon neutral. Our dining hall is Green Restaurant certified. We compost all of our food waste and purchase our electricity from landfill gas. Now we're turning a hazardous lake into a thriving urban wetland. When you choose Lynchburg, you leave a smaller footprint while building a better tomorrow.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
How you feeling?
Living the dream.
Just
There's another look at the sharpshooter for Lynchburg. 58% from three in her return for this Hornet team. And I want to follow up on another point that we wanted to research here at the break. We've got our answer. First career double-double for Bree Spainhour, and counting on those stats as well. 13 points, 10 boards, as Spainhour has had the difficult matchup of one of the ODAC's premier post players on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, Cabria Mutz. She's winning that one-on-one rebounding battle 10-4. And again, the first career double-double for the sophomore out of King, North Carolina. Shouts to North Carolina and Bree Spainhour. Here's a tough take, strong take going to the basket, just off the mark. Again, Lynchburg will run. Near side, driving to the basket. Harris gets caught under it. Check the replay on this one. I think she avoided the ball coming back down and hitting her in the head, but it was close. She will go to the line for a pair. Harris, good job getting to the basket, takes the contact. Yeah, I don't think the ball got her. Might have been the hand of the defender there. We'll get a substitution as Darcy Ross checks back in for Lynchburg. Harris converts upon the front end. She's got 5 on the night. Looking for her first 3, 0 for 2 from deep. Lynchburg 6 of 13 as a half. They have missed each of their first 2 attempts of this second half, but nonetheless have built the lead up to 26 points at 56-30. After that, Olivia Harris trip to the free throw line. Hollins needs something desperately on offense. Really struggling to find their groove in the second half in particular. Here comes a 3 off the mark again. There's an offensive rebound, unscripted, and not one of your premier rebounders gets the job done nonetheless. And Zariah Holden finishes it off in close. And that's a good possession there for Hollins. You get the offensive rebound, you get the second chance, and then you get a high percentage shot opportunity down low. Great pass as Gant finds the collapse on her on defense, and then she gets an offensive rebound for Lynchburg. A couple of guards getting some offensive boards for their respective teams. How about the spin move again from Darcy Ross? She takes the foul and will go to the line. Foul applied by Holden, who of course scored the last basket for the visitors. Darcy Ross to the line. She's got 4 points on the evening. 2 for 2, a perfect night from the floor, and good. Now perfect from the free throw line as well. True shooting percentage through the roof right now. Basketball Reference loves to see that. Off on the second one. Apologies, Darcy. Might have been an announcer jinx there. Ross now has to get back quickly on defense and just a step slow as Holden gets by her. Back-to-back baskets in close for Zariah Holden. Vandergrift wanted to pull the trigger there on the three, does not. Thinks better of it. Probably a wise choice. Good defense, hand in her face from Hollins. Lynchburg goes to Olivia Harris again. Harris, though, when the three ball's not falling, you get it where you can find it. Olivia Harris doing a great job of getting to the rack tonight and finishing it off in close. One of Lynchburg's better finishers close to the rim that you can bring to the table. Going down low again goes Hollins. It's Segay still looking for her first basket, now 0 for 3. Harris thought about the three. Now a good look at a mid-range, a rare mid-range attempts from Lynchburg. And now Olivia Harris starting to catch fire. It's been a whole number of Hornets at different points this evening, and this one will draw the timeout from the bench of Emily Dunton. Does not like what she's seen as the lead has grown to 61-34 home team. The rebounding margin at 35-18. And the turnover margin starting to even itself out a little bit as well, 14-7. Hollins still a healthy lead in that department, but the Lynchburg defense starting to clamp down a bit. How about 52 points in the paint between these two teams combined? And Olivia Harris, known for the three-point scoring. She's got 10 points without a three, 0 for 3 from deep tonight. Just a great example of, staying patient, looking for the shots where you can get them. You hear it all the time. Well, sometimes it's just not your night scoring the basketball, so, you can look to be a great passer or a great rebounder, give great defense, whatever that may be. Well, the case tonight for Olivia Harris has just been, we'll just pick different spots and, show off that offensive acumen from wherever you can get it. And the shot chart for Lynchburg, we'll see if we can get it up here. But the shot chart looks, it looks great. It's great offense. It's a big cluster near the basket, and then it's a lot around the three-point line, and only 3 attempts from the corner, just 3 shots from the mid-range tonight for Lynchburg. For Hollins, it's a big cluster just anywhere they can get it inside the three-point line, but a special emphasis in the paint. And, sometimes the shot chart shows you something that you maybe didn't expect to see. This is one of those games where it's been a clear and concise effort from both coaching staffs. You can really see where they want to find their points, want to find their offense. And the shot chart certainly backs that up. The scoreboard backs Lynchburg up. And it's an interesting lineup right now for Lynchburg. A long lineup, if you will. Don't have Taylor Brown on the floor, but some size here for Lynchburg. Darcy Ross, Ashley Vandergrift, Taylor Gann, who's gotten a lot of run over these last 2 games. Olivia Harris and Letty Michael. Letty Michael, the first-year point guard with some size to her. Certainly shows a lot of promise. And the freshman class this year has certainly not been called upon to do quite as much as last year's freshman class was. It's also a little bit smaller. Again, most of those sophomores were back, so they're just, think about roster spots, don't need to bring in a huge freshman class, just 3 this year. Olivia Harris in transition again, another easy 2 for the junior. We talk a lot about the sophomores and the freshmen, the upperclassmen getting it done as well tonight. Sammy Sever, the senior, with 13. Olivia Harris, the junior, now with 12. One-on-one, Vandergrift loses her matchup there. Good sidestep to get open there from Nalani Carter. Shot was off the mark, and now Lynchburg will elect to slow things down a tad. Kayla Terry, Taylor Brown wait at the scores table, as well as, I believe, Zariah Holden for Hollins. Shot off the mark, battle for the rebound. We'll see if it's a foul or a jump ball. 2 thumbs up. That means jump ball, and it means good if you're Hollins. Love it when you get those dual meanings there on the hand signals. We will get those substitutions. Olivia Harris and Darcy Ross will head to the sideline. Lynchburg a 29-point advantage. Now Vandergrift will join them as Allison Booth, Taylor Brown, and Kayla Terry into the game for Lynchburg. So other than Gant, the senior, it's a young lineup on the floor right now for Lynchburg. And I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we got to see a lot of promising things from Taylor Brown, especially in the fourth quarter against Averett. She wound up finishing in double figures. So a great opportunity here for Coach Nichols to kind of see what she's got with some of these younger players. Kayla Terry, sort of that backup or maybe even third string point guard role. Capable scorer as well. Just Lynchburg kind of stumbled into some depth. It's a turnover, unforced turnover goes against Hollins there on the double dribble. It just really kind of found that depth with Brandstatter coming over at the point guard position, and you have Macy Mullins as well. And Brandstatter, of course, being a player that can go for a pretty long duration in terms of minutes minutes per game. So just you haven't seen a ton of Kayla Terry this year, but certainly know that she is capable and hope to maybe see something from her here down the stretch. Right now going to see a little something from Nolarni Carter trying to go coast to coast, and she does. ODAC spans the state of Virginia from the mountains to the coast. Nolarni Carter does something similar, west to east there, getting the basket in close. Now Lynchburg again, the final possession. Letty Michael, 4-3, her 9th of the year, and Lynchburg's 7th of the day, their first of the second half, concludes your third quarter. Lynchburg had not found that three ball yet in the third quarter. They finally get it in the last second. Letty Michael gets it going from three and sends us into the fourth quarter. Lynchburg out in front, coasting in the lead right now. It's 66-38. We got the fourth quarter up next on LHSN.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Look what you're missing. It really don't matter to me. I'm just happy to be here. I might go crazy.
Let's take another look at the last made basket. It was Letty Michael, the freshman, getting it done at the end of the horn. Third quarter buzzer beater for Lynchburg. Letty Michael's got her first points of the game on the board with a three. And for the freshman that we mentioned, feel like shows a lot of promise, especially down the line. Just 3 points per game on the year, but 2 rebounds to add to that. 34% from the floor, and one of Lynchburg's better scores at the free throw line. Freshman guard out of Lexington, North Carolina, North Davidson High School. Nearly came up with the steal on the first defensive possession of the fourth quarter for Lynchburg. Instead, we'll stay on this end. Hollins basketball facing that large deficit. Hollins staring 2-9 in conference play, right down the proverbial barrel, and it's tough at this point. Obviously, road games are difficult to win at any level in any conference. Doesn't matter who you are. It's hard to win away from home, and certainly, got a good boost of energy in this Turner Gym as more and more students make their way back onto campus. First day today, this Wednesday, that just general students would begin moving in back to their residence halls. So got a healthy mix of that alongside the athletes here. But Hollins, obviously, when you look at the ODAC standings, this maybe wasn't one that was going to be an easy one to win, but certainly one that Hollins would have liked to have gotten as they get their second three of the game on that last possession, but then pick up a bit of a cheap foul way behind the three-point line against Macy Mullins. Foul going to go against Segay. Giannis Segay. But yeah, you look at those ODAC standings and take another look as well at that last three from Segay. So some good and some bad there for the freshman guard out of Bedford, Virginia, Liberty High School. The same high school that Emily Dunton was a coach of the year, conference coach of the year, and two-time conference champion in her 3 years at the helm of that high school program. Certainly a connection there, and two players from Liberty High School on this Hollins roster. But yeah, those ODAC standings, Hollins entered tonight 11th, 6-9, 2-8 in conference play. They were tied in the conference ranks with Averett. Reminder, top 10 teams go to the postseason. So Letty Michael thought about maybe another three. Instead, a little dribble handoff to Kayla Terry. Lynchburg still looking for that good shot. They'll take their time and reset briefly with 15 on the shot clock. But Hollins came in tonight sitting just off the shoulder of EMU. They're the last ones in right now, the 10 spot in the conference. EMU 3-7 in ODAC play. Hollins 2-8. So with a win and an EMU loss, if you're Hollins, you're right back in the thick of it. Again, a really young team to get into that ODAC conference tournament's a huge confidence boost. And for Lynchburg, that sort of wound up being the goal last year. And although Lynchburg did not advance, did fall in their first game in the ODAC tournament. I think if you ask Coach Nichols about that experience, it's just nice to finish in the top 10 of the standings, to get that opportunity to play in the postseason, to play at the Salem Civic Center. So something similar, I would imagine, is the mindset and the goal here for this Hollins team. But that road definitely getting a touch tougher, assuming that this score holds, a 25-point advantage for Lynchburg with just about 8 minutes to go. That'll be a little bit of an uphill battle. But in the spirit of that ODAC tournament anticipation, we will check back in on some of the scores from around the conference. You know, we mentioned at halftime the games that we were keeping our eye on, a full slate of games within the conference here tonight. And certainly some of great importance, not just for Hollins, for Lynchburg as well. Lynchburg sitting right behind Roanoke in the standings. And we mentioned that the top 10 teams make it into the conference tournament, but perhaps just as importantly, the top 6 teams do get a bye. There's sort of a play-in-ish tournament between teams ranked 7th through 10th. So Lynchburg, who sits 7th right now, would love to avoid that. And this win certainly goes a long way to perhaps making that happen. But again, you know, there's only so much that you can do on your own unless you win every single game, which of course Washington and Lee's trying to do. You do need a little bit of help from your peers around the league. So some of those games going on tonight. We'll look first at what's a pretty important game towards the top of the conference, Bridgewater and Randolph-Macon. That's a close one. Third quarter about to get going. End of halftime there. Bridgewater a slight lead at 26-25. Washington and Lee and Shenandoah facing off right now as well. A little slow getting the stats to load on that one. That one should be nearing its conclusion as well. Across town, Averett is taking on Randolph. Randolph an 8-point advantage there over the Cougars. And then finally, the big one to keep an eye on, Roanoke and Ferrum also doing battle right now. Back on that Washington and Lee Shenandoah game. An upset brewing. Fourth quarter's on tap in that one, and Shenandoah leads it 44-41. So perhaps a little bit of chaos at the top of the standings. A great program over there at Shenandoah. Won the conference a couple of years ago. Obviously, W&L the favorites to win the conference this year, but certainly getting interesting there. Shenandoah 12-3 on the year. Washington and Lee 15-1 as Bree Spainhour has another pair of points. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that one after this broadcast ends. Again, still the full fourth quarter to come between Shenandoah and Washington and Lee. So that's sort of the around the horn, around the conference, if you will. Keep everybody up to date on what's going on there. We'll try to get that Roanoke score. Nothing else, just for my own knowledge, as that's right around where Lynchburg's sitting in the conference standings. To the line for Hollins goes Sarah Morales. 5'8", freshman guard out of San Antonio, Texas. Team high 12.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and better than 2 steals per contest as well. The numbers point to a very promising level of play, and between her and Mutz, her fellow peer and classmate, both freshmen, but Mutz not as far of a travel there. Benton, Virginia native, William Byrd High School alum. So that one everything but down for Morales. Morales has been good today, 8 points. Certainly not the shooting day she probably envisioned, 4 of 14 after that last miss, and certainly a contributor to Hollins' struggles. You know, the point total may be close to where the average is, the efficiency not as much, and Hollins, you know, when you go on the road, you want to lean on your best players, especially on the offensive end. So she's getting a lot of opportunities tonight, but just had some trouble going up against that Lynchburg defense. Hornets defense gets a pseudo stop, if you will, there with 6:21 to go in the fourth quarter. It'll draw another Hollins timeout. Use them or lose them, right? And 1 timeout left for the visitors in this game. We'll keep it right here. Probably take one more break before this one's all said and done. We'll run through some of the individual numbers again after taking a nice long look around the conference. Zariah Holden still leading the way for Hollins. She had 12 at the half. She's got 6 second half points, 18 in the game on 7 of 13 shooting, 4 rebounds, and a couple of steals to add to it. Bree Spainhour now with 15, 7 of 10 shooting. She leads the way for Lynchburg, a career high 11 rebounds. First career double-double for Bree Spainhour. She's just been fantastic tonight for Lynchburg. And we mentioned she'd be one that may be tested tonight in that matchup with Mutz. And Mutz has had some good moments. She's got those 3 blocks. Those all came in the first half. But Bree Spainhour, you got to imagine, is probably on the whole has won that matchup. And look at her run the floor as well for Lynchburg. Not a point guard by definition, but Lynchburg's got a couple of those. Unicorns might be an overdone term. Shouts to Kristaps Porzingis, having a heck of a year with the Boston Celtics this year. But Lynchburg's got a couple of those players that can just play a variety of positions that might not be true to their size, but just can hurt you a number of ways and a number of spots along the floor, and just a huge advantage from a matchup standpoint. It can be tough to game plan for, and of course the three-point shooting, a strength of this team as a whole. That has continued tonight, 46%, 7 of 15 from 3. Lynchburg had 6 of those 7 in the first half, so they've cooled down a little bit in the second half. But look back at the shot chart, and they just haven't taken a ton in the second half. Only 4 3-point attempts. As somebody lost track of their matchup, a good-looking running layup by Zariah Holden. She is into the 20-point club, leads all scorers with that margin. Lynchburg continuing to get the rotation going. We had that not an all-freshman lineup, but all 3 of Lynchburg's freshmen on the floor simultaneously, Booth, Michael, and Taylor Brown. And then we got to see some of the starters, now a couple more of the starters. So Lynchburg just, staying true to form there, rotating the legs out. When you run as much as Lynchburg wants to, you got to keep those fresh legs on the floor. And it's a Lynchburg team that, maybe trying to prove a little something here at home. Again, winners of 5 of their last 6, 3 straight wins in ODAC play. That one loss to sort of break up what would be a really impressive win streak was out of the conference. It was Mary Washington. So Lynchburg's just been great, really heated up after the ball dropped on January 1st or December 31st, I guess, whichever way you want to look at that. They've gotten things rolling in the month of January. Maybe hoping this month goes as long as possible. A couple more games before January's said and done with. It'll be a Saturday weekend matchup with Shenandoah on the road. That'll be a tough one. Again, though, Shenandoah could potentially be coming off a huge upset road victory over the ODAC's favorites in Washington and Lee. Upset brewing there in Lexington. You will have the Hornet Classic, if you will, Lynchburg and Shenandoah. The men's team got the best of Shenandoah a couple of weeks ago. Big win for them away from home. So the women's team will be looking to follow suit, but we'll definitely have their work cut out for them. A well-coached unit there at Shenandoah, as I mentioned earlier, did win the conference just a couple of years ago. And after that, 2 more games this month, January 27th at Randolph-Macon, the second of a 2-game season series between those two. Lynchburg got the win in the first, a double overtime thriller in this very gym. And then they will round out the month with Washington and Lee. So I did miss a January 24th date with Virginia Wesleyan on the road. Virginia Wesleyan, a tough year, 3-12, 1-8 in the conference. But you just look at the rest of this month. Lynchburg going to go through the gauntlet a little bit. 3 of those 4 remaining games this calendar month against teams ranked first, second, and third in the ODAC standings. So Lynchburg perhaps taking the road less traveled here in the coming weeks, and you kind of feel like you can steal 1 out of those 3 games. You're doing something right, because not only are you playing those 3 top opponents, as Olivia Harris, a highlight pass there, dumping it off to Darcy Ross, who's now up to 7 points on the evening. Lynchburg getting some big-time contributions from its paint players. 36 paint points for Lynchburg to 28 for Hollins. Both teams have been productive down low. Lynchburg, that's the balance you really want to find, and a team that's grown up a lot in the offseason, but also as this year has gone on, when you can get 21 of your points from three-point land and then another 36 from the paint, 9 from the free throw line as well. Ashley Vandergrift going to try to make it number 8 from 3, unsuccessful. But a travel on the rebounding attempt from Mutz, who has been held to just 4 rebounds on the day. We'll see. Evan Gates, our statistician tonight, filling in, doing a heck of a job, I might add. See if he gives rebound number 5 to Mutz and then the travel, or if it's sort of a simultaneous motion. We'll kind of see what he rules there. We're going to go rebound number 5 for Mutz. Shouts to Evan Gates on the table down there today. And we will stay on this end of the floor. Lynchburg keys it back into Olivia Harris. Harris has been great doing it away from her typical 3-point scoring acumen. 12 points, all of them inside the arc. 5 of 9 from the floor. And on her 2-point shots, even better. Ashley Vandergrift. You knew it wasn't a 3-point party if number 14 wasn't involved. Vandergrift keeps that streak of games going with at least 1 3-pointer made in her return. She's on the board for the first time from 3. Did have that 2-pointer that she knocked down in the 3rd quarter. So she's got 5, 50% from deep today. And it's rare you can shoot 50% from 3 and your percentage on the year actually is going to go down a little bit. 250, we might see another one go up from Vandergrift. She's just, that 58% mark coming into today. Yet she doesn't qualify for the league leaders. She's missed that first half of the season roughly. But if she did, she'd be sitting there at the top. And then Brooke Kaysen, who does qualify, is in fact sitting right there at the top at about 40%, and she gave a healthy contribution tonight. Brooke Kaysen right now sitting at 3 for 7 and on the bench right now, so may not see her again today, but still over 40% effort from three-point land for Kaysen, who's been the premier 3-point scorer for Lynchburg this year. It's funny, Lynchburg's top 3-point shooters from each of their last 3 teams are still on the team, but it's been a different player each year. Person who just took that last shot, Olivia Harris, she was the go-to scorer from deep in the 21-22 campaign. Allison Nichols' first year and Olivia Harris first as well. Then last year it was Macy Mullins that really had the hot hand, and this year Brooke Kaysen leads the way. So you want a better stat that kind of sums up the diversity of 3-point scoring Lynchburg has in terms of players that can score it. That's probably the one you want to point to. Another strong take to the basket by Holden. She has been a big-time bright spot on offense for a Hollins team that at large has, to be perfectly frank, has struggled a bit. And again, this is a team that leans on its defense. That's been a bit of a struggle as well. Holden unable to convert for the and one opportunity, but we'll get 2 attempts at the line where Hollins right about at its average on the season, 46% before that attempt. That's going to lower it a little bit. 6 of 14 on the day are the green and gold, 48% on the year. Zariah Holden off the mark on both. Tough trip there for her in what's been otherwise a phenomenal day. She's going to fall to 3 of 7 from the line. And now just under 2 minutes to go, Lynchburg protecting what will be one of its larger margins of victory this season. They're going to most likely secure back-to-back 20-point victories, a 25-point win over Averett. The margin right now is 27. With the win, Lynchburg is going to improve to 10-7, 5-5 in conference play, and even 500 in the conference. Certainly something to be pleased with for Coach Nichols, the whole coaching staff, and the team, of course, as well as Taylor Gant at the line, knocks down the front end. Lynchburg, for the moment, still going to be sitting at 7th. We'll see what happens with that Roanoke-Ferrum game. If Ferrum's able to pull the upset on the road, then Lynchburg and Roanoke would pull into a tie at 5-5. That Roanoke, for the time being, would have the advantage with the head-to-head win. But still 6 games remaining after this one for both of those two teams. And that's a battle to watch, because that 6th spot is huge. If you can avoid playing any games in the tournament away from Salem Civic Center, much as we would love to have a first-round game for you on LHSN, I'm sure this Lynchburg women's team would certainly prefer to avoid an extra game on its legs and just jump into that round of play in Roanoke, in Salem. Darcy Ross is putting on to perhaps her best offensive game this season. The junior is up to 9 points now on the day. The junior forward out of Covington, Virginia, Allegheny High School, averaging just 2.5 points per game, 3 boards coming into this one. That season average going to be trending northward when this one goes final. Lynchburg has gotten its points from, we'll count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different scores today. 3 have scored in double figures. 7 have made at least 2 field goals. So a well-rounded affair here offensively for Lynchburg. You can say the same about the defense, as they've held Hollins to just 46. Tough break on the second free throw there for Mackenzie Brundage. Hit on the first one. She's able to laugh it off. Good sport there, and certainly nice to be in the home gym for that one. No worries. This one's well in order. The lead is ballooned up to 31 after several trips to the free throw line. Hollins, with the loss, is going to fall to 6-10, 2-9 in the conference realm of things. Again, they're battling it out to try and get into that ODAC tournament. And for a team that is very young, has showed some promise, has showed it in spurts this year, puts out one of the better defenses in the conference. Still time down the stretch here, as the visitors will give a foul with the shot clock turned off. Zariah Holden, I believe, is who got hit with it. It's her 4th personal, 5th team for Hollins. So 2 free throws, 2 free ones here for Taylor Gant. Knocked down a couple of threes last game out. She's got a couple of points this time at the free throw line tonight. She'll look to finish up with 3. I'd imagine this is the last shot that will go up for Lynchburg on the night, as once again the Hornets going to improve to 10-7 on the year, 5-5 in conference play. They close the game out on a 10-0 run. That kind of encapsulates the kind of day it's been for Lynchburg, whose hot streak will improve to 6-1. Over its last 7 games, they've won 3 in a row for the 3rd time this year. Give up the basket there at the end. That'll give you your final 78-48. Lynchburg picks up a 30 20-point victory. A huge win for the home team. Lynchburg gets it done into double figures in the scoring column. And, you know, the rebuild, if you will, in full effect here for Coach Nichols. You know, really got her own team in the building now. Still a young team, but they're growing up in front of our eyes, and they're out to a 10-7 record with everything in front of them. A gauntlet coming up on the schedule. A reminder, the next time out will be on the road. That'll be at Shenandoah, January 20th. That's this Saturday, a 4:30 p.m. tip. So head on over to Shenandoah for the stream on that one. The next time we'll see this team at home, they don't get any bigger than this. Not only a rivalry game with the ODAC's best. January 31st, mark your calendars. Be in front of your TV at 7:30. Lynchburg's taking on Washington and Lee in Turner Gymnasium. We're hoping the gym will be rocking. I'll be rocking up here in the broadcast booth, and hope that you, my friends, will be right here with me. Just one more word on tonight's contest. Lynchburg a huge advantage on the boards, 49-29. That was certainly a big point of emphasis. Lynchburg 8 of 17 from 3. That's another one. And how about back-to-back games shooting over 70% from the free throw line as a team as well. Lynchburg efficient on the offensive end. And one final shout out, Bree Spainhour leads the way in the score column. She had 15, a career high 12 rebounds, first career double-double for the sophomore from King. I think I know who our post-game interviewee will be. So that's the next time I'll see you. But on these airwaves, we're going to go ahead and sign it off for tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure spending this Wednesday evening with you. Hope you can stay warm. Hope you stay safe. If you're coming back to school, hope you have safe travels. And we hope to see you for the first day of class on Monday. All that being said, I think I've covered my bases. And we are going to sign off one final time. From Turner Gymnasium in Lynchburg, Virginia, I am Sam Graham. We'll leave by telling you our final score. It was Lynchburg 78, Hollins 48.